Okay, it might be the best post show ever, because we're going to start it over here with Eli Tomac. And thank you, first of all, for putting on an amazing show. I'm sure you wish you had a 50-point lead coming in. You guys even started 1-2 in the first moto. It was poetic. It was everything we wanted. It was gnarly, man.
It was gnarly. Yeah. And the more I think of it, though, the way going in here with 1 point,
yeah,
it's almost, well, it's easy for me to say now.
Okay.
But like sleeping last night, I slept fine. I wasn't rolling around in bed, wasn't overthinking it. I'm like, because with 1 point up, you have to execute.
Yeah.
So straight up, you have to go be the best guy, and it forced you to be the best guy. Like, it's hard when you have maybe 10 points and you're like, oh, I can't risk it too much. But so same thing went down today, though. We were glued together, and thankfully I was the guy that came out on top for me.
Well, we even had you on our pre-show yesterday, and you looked like that. You looked like you were enjoying it, actually. Yeah. It was amazing that you're able to do that. You got to be proud of yourself to be able to be that cool under pressure.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I think it's because of the situation.
Okay.
I've won them before, but also knowing that I had to go ride at 100%.
Yeah.
There was no 90% in today.
No.
There was none of that.
How much of that first moto was strategy? Were you waiting? Were you saving energy at one point because of the heat, or was that just all-out attack the whole time?
I mean, I like to think I was all out, but I wasn't going absolutely out of my mind.
Yeah.
Up until like halfway, and then I saw the lappers coming again, and honestly, that is a good time to make a push on guys.
Yeah.
It's worked at least with me and Chase this year.
Yeah.
I've come to find out, and so that's what happened. Is he got a little bit balled up with the lappers, and I got closer to him, and then I made the attack in those rollers. So yeah, there was some strategy there. But to be honest, I was like, I wasn't necessarily catching him before that, so it was tough.
Yeah, you were going hard, and he was holding you.
Correct.
Oh,
yeah.
Does the nerves creep in even at that point, or did you still feel it was all under your?
I'm like, well, shoot, I might get beat, and at least we have second Moto 2.
That's right.
But didn't happen.
Moto 2, just a bad start because it got a little tense there for a little bit.
Yeah, it was. Average start, and then I was actually worse in like turn 3.
Oh, okay.
I got passed by like 3 guys dropping in off that little shelf, and that's what really did me in, because I was like 5th, and I went back to whatever it was, 7th or something. So that was the bad part. I was too cautious in like turn 3, and then I was like, uh-oh, when I saw Jason up front, because I feel like he is one of the guys that can run away, and then Chase was in front of me. I'm like, this is not good.
Yes.
So I was kind of freaking out, and then obviously Chase made the mistake. I was able to go ahead of him right there, and went up to Jason. But before all that, I was like, I've got a lot of work cut out for me right now.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the field is still pretty tough right now. Like a lot of times when we get to a race like this, they're cruising. Yeah. They still fight you.
Yeah, and honestly, I was having like flashbacks of Bud's Creek Moto 2. I'm like, dude, if I get stuck behind these guys again, like I was only able to get to 5th in Bud's Creek Moto 2, or I think it was 5th.
Yep.
I'm like, it can easily happen. These guys are good enough, but yeah, had to go out there and just pin it, man. Moto 2.
I asked you a dumb question yesterday saying, would it be cool to check this box to be able to win a winner's take all? And you're like, well, I'd rather have a big points lead and not have to go through this. But now that you've done it, is it kind of nice to have that little thing on the wall to say, one of these titles, I had to do it that way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's super cool that way.
Yeah.
Like I said, there was nothing like it. But with all that being said, I'm telling you, this was better for me mentally and the way the nerves were than being whatever 10 points or.
Yeah.
I can say that now, but I swear it was easier than having a little cushion.
Let it be known, if anyone wants to be the guy for a title, give him a 10-point lead going into the finale, and it'll be better odds. Last thing, okay, we probably asked it to Supercross. You switched to Yamaha last year. Everybody's like, wow, that's crazy. How do you feel about this now? You won both titles for the first time in your career, and you said it might have been the most fun you've ever had?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was. I can say that now because I won both.
Yes.
But we got it figured out in Supercross. We got it figured out in Motocross.
Yeah.
We won a lot of races in both series. Yeah, it was my best 450 season, and love the people that surrounded me and made it a team.
It's unbelievable. We will never question Eli Tomac's career decisions ever again. He's on top. Let's hear it for Eli, everybody. Cheer for the guy. Yeah. Thank you. All right, thanks Twisted Tea for bringing us the post-show. We are going to follow motorhome protocol. This motorhome was rented for Jett Lawrence to celebrate this weekend, and we're going to go for it and see what happens. We got the right place? We got the right place. Motorhome guy. Big motorhome guy. Why? He's a superstar. This is not a big deal that I'm in here. This is not a big deal. Yeah, sorry. This was not. We were not to say we were doing this. You tried to hide from the media.
Sorry. How did you guys get in here?
We did not plan this at all.
Yeah, not at all.
Not at all.
Wow.
But I was, like, telepathically knew to take my shoes off somehow. I don't know how I knew that.
I told them they better take their shoes off, otherwise Janet's going to beat the crap out of them.
And they said it was no problem.
She comes off very nice, but you just wait. She puts on that mama belt, she'll beat the crap out of you. Don't worry. I've missed it just a few times.
Okay. You have shoes on, so be careful.
No,
I'm
just here.
Oh, you're levitating the entire time.
Most of the time, yeah.
You just raced 2 motos today. Your quad's got to be kind of hurting as it is. You got to levitate. Hey, did this feel like a championship day? I mean, it was, but you didn't, have to sweat it out. How did it actually feel? Did it feel different than a regular race?
It definitely felt not as much pressure, to be honest. It definitely felt like more relaxing, just because you have that such big points gap, and definitely getting that whole shot on the first one kind of helped this. Oh.
Okay.
And but no, it was a kind of yes and no a little bit, Like I knew it was championship day, but it still doesn't really feel like it until after, once we came back, started doing burnouts and stuff. So yeah.
Well, yeah. After the first moto, I've never seen someone win a title, end a moto, and then be bummed that he didn't pull over to help his brother. I've never seen this level of celebration. You were actually mad. That was crazy.
Yeah, I was bummed. I was trying to hold Joe off as much as I can. I mean, each lap I tried to go slower and slower just so I could let Hunter catch, and sure enough, he did. I just didn't know it was him behind. I thought it was still Joe. I didn't really hear the pitch difference in the motorbike. Okay. Normally, I can kind of tell which is which and what sounds like my bike, but apparently I didn't this time. And I seen him right as I hit the triple before the finish line. I seen him. It just didn't register fast enough until I went over the finish line, going, "Damn it."
Getting on the brakes and handing over moto win, probably not a good look. So maybe it was for the best that you didn't do that. Maybe, yeah. Hey, you won 9 of 12 overalls this year, but I feel like it was controlled. It wasn't like I'm out here to win every moto by a minute. You just did what you needed to do every weekend. Was that the plan?
Yeah, it's just kind of just being smart and taking the risk out of everything, really. Yeah. If I need to push, I could push enough where I was still safe, and I had to push over my head, then I was calm enough to just go, yeah, you boys can have it this one. And I felt that's what kind of helped a lot this year, obviously being really good on the bike, having a good setting. The bike engine was awesome this year, which helped get me up there on the starts a lot more. But I think it was just kind of that next step of maturing. I felt like it was definitely what I was focusing on this year, just trying to get as many wins as I possibly can and make it not as stressful.
Yeah, you did that. Now, let's talk about the people behind you. First of all, I met some people that were taking pictures of you at 5 years old, an Australian family that came over here for the finale. Yeah. Were you hanging out? Did you see them? I was talking to them with your dad, yes.
Did. I've seen a lot of faces today, even though how hot it is, and even the heat's gone to me, so I could just be delusional right now and just forgetting everyone.
Do you remember Rodman?
I do remember that. That's how. I mean, if I forgot that now, I'd need to get punched.
So Dennis Rodman's your guy? That's your hero?
Yeah, I'm not, I've never really been much of a kid to, look up to one person, but, the last few years getting, obviously looking at some American basketball and that stuff and watching that Last Dance on Netflix and seeing his segment was definitely, I liked it. Most people probably don't like him, but I do. I love the guy. He's always the one guy I always look up to. I've never really looked up to most people in our sport, which, sorry, James, Ricky and that stuff, so my bad. But, yeah, the biggest thing I just looked up because no matter what he was doing, and he was doing some crazy stuff, we know that for sure, but he would always show up, train, and give it his 100%, even when Michael Jordan had to go to Vegas to get his ass out of bed to bring him back to training, so yeah.
So you got to hang with him a little bit?
Yes, I got to hang with him. I ended up getting a shirt from him. We surprisingly got him in a Jets and Donut shirt, so I told him, though, since he's wearing it, he has to stop at our shop once it's up, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's gonna visit. Now you guys are gonna be, but he's gonna be you, Kim Jong Un, and Rodman hanging.
Yeah. I'll be up there.
Congratulations. See you at the Nations, and then we'll see how the fans treat you there. They might have to hate you for a weekend. Sorry, bro.
But do they really?
For a weekend. Just like a little skip.
But the question is, do they really? Are they really gonna hate me for a weekend?
Somebody just said he will. One of your buddies. Yeah. Oh, no, he's smiling now. I said it's going to be very complicated. I know you love Aussies and you love the Lawrence brothers. I don't know what's going to happen. You're going to try to win.
Yeah, he ain't getting tickets then.
Okay, he's out. Jett Lawrence, 2-time champ, everybody, of 250 motocross. Okay, we're going to analyze this race, but first of all, this man was part of the track crew here. They put 2 million gallons of water on this track, and they made the track raceable even though it was 101 degrees, so celebrate.
We tried our best.
You tried your best.
We tried our best, and, I think that we had a relatively successful race day, and no matter how much we tried, we're fighting the weather, the wind, the weather, it's hot. So we did what we could, and, it starts a little muddy, and it ends good, in my opinion.
2 million gallons of water. They made it a raceable track. It could have just been as dusty as these pits are. Now go celebrate. Here we go. And that's how we celebrated successful Pala 2 Fox Raceway National. Good job. Wow, that's a record time. We'll bring Kellen Brauer on in. Thank you very much for your service. 2 million gallons of water. That's not an exaggeration. Kellen Brauer here on the show. Let's start 250s. Is that what we're supposed to do? Start 250s. Okay, there wasn't drama as far as Jett Lawrence in the title. But, man, I did not know that Hunter Lawrence and the Lawrence brothers wanted to go 1-2 that bad. Willing to do whatever it takes bad.
No, like you said, with talking to him, he was so bummed to not let Hunter Lawrence by and beat him in the first moto. When do you ever hear that? And he just clinched the title, pulls off the track, and he's like, why didn't you tell me? Tell me that he's behind me. And I'm like, what? But obviously, the second moto, gets second, wins the overall. We knew it was going to be a pretty simple day for him. I don't think that he had too much stress on his shoulders and is able to take home the title. So maybe let a couple other faces get up there. Joe wins the second moto, and we see him battle Cooper a little bit, which he's had kind of his number this year. So, played it easy, played it safe, take home the title.
Yep. And that's 250s. Jett wins the overall, and Shimoda wins the second moto. He was pretty pissed. He said, Hunter, that was a knockdown. I don't want to say takeout. Maybe he came down the hill too fast, was out of control, but dude, I didn't expect that.
He didn't expect it either.
Okay.
So, we'll hear from him in a second because we talked to him about it, and he really thought, that's over the line. He thought that was too much. There is a manner of taking somebody out, and he thought that was a bit too much. The angle, the speed, and all that was involved. He said he hurt his shoulder a little bit, but it fired him for the second moto as well. So, whatever you got to take from it, obviously he's not too stoked about it. So, maybe he rolls it in 23.
He did end up second in points. Joe Shimoda. Let's talk to our 250 riders post-race.
All right, Joe Shimoda, last race of the year, win the last moto of the year, and had a great stretch down the end here. What do you think about the whole year for you?
The whole year, Supercross was a little disappointing. I was kind of struggling the whole year, but outdoor, we come back with some strong results. So, and days like today, taking a win on second moto with a nice big gap. So, yeah, super pumped.
Talk us through the first moto situation with you and Hunter. Did you know he was coming down the inside, and how surprised were you when he hit you?
It's kind of hard to tell because it's downhill, so you let off the bike, right? But to be honest, I think I'm not happy with it because if he would have made an inside rut, fine, it's a clean pass, but he jumped off the ruts too, so I wasn't really sure what he wanted to do. I ended up, going over the bar, hurt my shoulder, and we could have both go down, so a little disappointed, yeah.
All right, Hunter Lawrence, well, up and down day, obviously. Let's talk about the heat a little bit, though. Everybody talked about it coming into the week. How was it actually when you race, though?
It's hot, dude. It's hot. I think what really kind of adds to it is this track, it never seems to have a nice flow, and it's super physical, so that on top makes it tougher. And it's just like an oven, It's just dude, you're cooking, you're breathing, it's hot, it's pretty gnarly. But
today we had a little bit of a mini MX2 MXON preview because you had to get around Marv and Coop and then eventually Joe. What was it like trying to battle through those guys today too?
It's good. It was funny behind Marv. He kind of went off the track when I was behind him, and I got in there. So I said to him on the start line, I'm like, hey, thanks, bud. I don't think there'll be any of that in a few weeks' time. But you got to mean mug him a little, let him know it's coming. And Red Bud, it's Team Australia, so we got to go full send there.
Justin Cooper, 3-3 on the day. First of all, just tell us about like how hot and the intensity of it was today, trying to deal with the heat.
Yeah, it was obviously hot, but it wasn't like crazy hot. Like we had a little bit of a breeze. It was just the intensity, like how much intensity you could have throughout the moto. And that was kind of the fine line and the hardest part about managing a moto. So didn't really have the intensity the first moto and didn't have the pace really for those guys. So all day was a little bit off the guys that were out front, but battled hard and ended up on the podium. So it was a good day overall. A lot of positives to take away from it, and a little bit of a rebound going into the Team USA shootout here.
Hi, Marshall Weldon, last race of the year, 14th overall. Let's talk about the heat first of all, though. You know, everybody talked about it coming into the week. How did it actually feel?
It for sure it was intense. I don't know, like I tried not to think about it all day. Then once that 15-minute mark hit in the moto, I'm like, damn, there it is. And it's like you can try and like trick your mind to think it's not that hot until all of a sudden you're like stroking out and you're like all dizzy in the middle of the track just trying to make it through. So it was a tough day for sure. It was the hardest day of the year.
Yeah. Did the extra 30 minutes actually help with recovery, or did you still feel like you're kind of fried going into the second moto too?
It was really crucial, honestly. I think too because it calmed down a little bit for second motos. For me, I needed that. I was sick and I still am sick, but at least like allowed myself to gather myself, like so I wasn't like out in La La Land starting Moto 2.
All right, thanks to our 250 guys for talking to the media and our boy Marshall Welton. He's already long gone, but we did get him in the media corral. Now, let's talk the showdown everyone wanted to know about, which is Sexton versus Tomac. Obviously, we talked to Tomac at the start of this show. It felt like chess. That's what the great James Stewart said. It was chess and not checkers, that first moto. Just who's going to break? What's going to happen?
Yeah, totally. And I think the best part about today was that we really did both motos actually have drama between them. It wasn't like it was a walk away for Tomac or a walk away for Sexton in both motos or whatever. First moto was totally cat and mouse back and forth between them. You know, Sexton got into the lappers, Eli pounced just like he did at Ironman. Sexton gets in the lappers and Eli pounces. And then the second moto, it was like, is Sexton really going to crash 3 times and still maybe actually win this moto? Because he had the speed too late in that moto, and it was crazy to watch the pace that they were both running. Obviously, Eli saying having to win definitely made it a little bit easier for him, but man, what a showdown this was. This was an incredible year between these guys.
Yeah, it was. And, you know, you knew you were going to get a thrill of victory, agony of defeat. Sexton, and we got B-roll here, was actually getting advice from Ryan Dungey, and even Ken Roxon came over in the end. They've been there, done that. They're veteran champions. They're trying to console him. Okay, maybe some of those crashes are pressure-induced. I think the last one was induced by he was going for it. He was like, I'm going to win or crash. I have to go all out.
Yeah, and I mean, that crash was... It was so odd because he just went over the rut, basically. It wasn't like he pushed through it or anything. He just came down the hill and then was, like, not in the rut anymore and crashed. And it totally was. He was pushing. He ran, a 224 right before that. Nobody was 227s, I think, at that point in time. So he was definitely going for it. But as Eli alluded to at Ironman, they were both in, kind of like a must situation, as Ricky would describe it. They had to win. They had to win either way that you shook it down. Sexton had to win the second moto to even have a shot. He had to win the first moto to really kind of make it interesting, and they both were absolutely sending it. It was a wild day.
Yeah, it was. And it was 101 degrees, and they still went for it. It was awesome. It was everything we hoped it would be at the finale. They got to battle in both motos. Passes, crashes, you name it. Great season. Thanks to Twisted Tea for backing our show. Congratulations to Eli Tomac and Jett Lawrence. And we're not done, because Motocross the Nation's coming up in a couple weeks. You'll be there. Our camera guy, Tom, will be there. We'll give you more coverage. See you soon.